when I went to Duke, I had this moment of crisis where I realized that my right brain was just about to like it be extinguished because I was so left-brained. I was so math and science oriented and so into black and white, and I really hadn't had a creative thought for myself, and I actually had a panic attack in some advanced calculus class, and I ran out of the room and I went to my major.
Welcome to the Female Entrepreneur Musician Podcast with Bree Noble. Bree is a musician, entrepreneur, speaker, and founder of Women of Substance Music Radio and Podcast. Bree's interviews with successful female musicians and industry pros are both inspirational and informational. She also answers your questions about the music business. Bree is on a mission to help you create great music, connect with your fans, and grow your business, and to truly become a female entrepreneur musician.
You are tuned into the Female Entrepreneur Musician Podcast, where we talk about making great music, connecting with your audience, and growing your business. My name is Bree Noble, and I am excited to get this interview to you today with Meghan Cary. I had such a great time talking with her. I've known her tangentially for a while, but I've never spoken to her. And boy, she is just, number one, a fun person. Number two, a super nice person and really knowledgeable and experienced as an artist and very down to earth. So I think you guys are going to love this. I just want to, acknowledge all of you ladies out there performing up a storm during the holidays. I know that I am in the thick of it right now, performing several times during December, and, just take care of yourselves. Make sure that you drink a lot of tea and water with lemon and honey and get a lot of sleep and all that stuff so you don't completely wear yourself out during this time. It can be one of the best times for performing. It can be a great money-making period for us artists, but just be sure that you don't burn yourselves out and do a little self-care, Take a nice long warm bath, take a nice walk, spend a little time reading in your downtime. Just want to make sure that you guys are really taking care of yourselves during this season when it's so easy to catch colds and flus and things like that when we get really busy and stressed and worn down. So enjoy the holidays for what they are. And this will be our last episode of 2017. I'll be back with you in the new year with some amazing interviews. I've already recorded several that I know you're going to really enjoy and learn from, as well as, of course, my weekly show, Indie Interactive, that will be back every week once we get going in the new year. So until then, enjoy this interview with Meghan Cary. And here's a little bit of information about her. A critically acclaimed folk artist who has earned Billboard magazine's esteemed Critics' Choice Award for Best Newcomer for her debut album and many accolades for her other albums. She joins me today to talk about her crazy story getting started in music, all the lessons she's learned along the way, how she balances things as a mother and a performer, and her new album, Sing Louder. So here is my interview with Meghan Cary. So that's a little bit about Meghan Cary. So Meghan, is there anything that our listeners need to know about you that's a little bit different, unique, quirky, that's not mentioned in your bio? Maybe something a little more personal?
Well, I think it might have been mentioned, but I'm a mom of 2 kids, and the balancing act of mom and musician is a big part of my daily life. And
I think we're going to have a lot to talk about on that one because I have 2 kids also.
Right. Oh, you do?
I do. How old are your kids?
9 and 11.
Oh my gosh. Mine are 9 and 14.
No way. Okay. Yes. Girls or boys or both?
2 girls.
2 girls. Okay. I have my girl first. She's 11. And then I have my boy. And it was perfect because, she's such a mommy. And you'll probably, I can hear her myself downstairs singing. You'll probably, it might bleed through at some point and you'll hear her. But that's okay. It's, both of my kids are very, very musical. Do your kids play music?
Well, my older daughter just got into high school. And so she just started in the high school choir, and we've sung a few duets together and stuff. So that's been really awesome for her. She loves it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
And the other one was in a little church choir at church on Sunday. It was really cute.
Oh, see, I love it. Yeah. My daughter sings and she plays the keyboards. Both my kids have to play piano because my husband is a keyboard player and he was made to play piano when he was 5, so
that's good.
Yeah. And he hated it. And then he was so glad that he just was made to do it because now he's a fabulous instrumentalist and he can play, keyboard is such a great thing to start with because he can play just about anything.
It's so versatile, and you learn theory and all that stuff. I mean, you can learn how to play the guitar really well and not understand a thing about theory.
That would be me. I really did.
Not to call you out or anything.
Shh, Bree, come on. Yeah, that's actually I'm actually getting better now when the band asks, well, wait, what key are we in? I can tell them now. I couldn't. I would just show them my hands. I said, we're in the key of this. Well, what key is that? I don't know. The one where my pinky's here and my big finger's there.
That's awesome. I love that. The key of this.
The key of this. Yeah. So that's being a mom is a big part of my world, and making music and having music be a part of my kids' lives it's key, because it's such a great go-to whenever you're feeling down.
Oh yeah, for sure. And we'll definitely get into more of that balancing act thing, because I definitely want to talk about that. But I would love to have you have a really interesting story on how you got into music. So I'd love to hear that. And I don't see, in your bio, did you start out having any music in the beginning? I know how you ended up getting into being a performer and a recording artist, but did you start with music, and how did you get to where you are now?
So it's really interesting. When I was a kid, my mom made me play piano too, my mom and dad. But I only played for about a year, and then this is going to be awful. So if you have a weak stomach, don't turn off right now. But I threw up on a baby grand piano.
Oh,
that was awful. We were practicing for a recital, and anyway, so I couldn't even look at a piano for
oh my gosh.
years. And that was my entree into music and my exit from music. And music was not something that I didn't think about it as a thing that I would do. I was going to be a biomedical engineer. I was really into math and science. And I was, I went off to Duke University to study pre-med, and I was headed for law, for med school. And that was just, that was always, everyone knew, oh, Meghan, she's going to be a doctor. Now she's going to go into science, that sort of thing. So, but I did sing. I sang all the time, actually, just to myself, that. I loved to sing. I loved to make that vibrating noise. And so when I went to Duke, I had this moment of crisis where I realized that my right brain was just about to it be extinguished, because I was so left-brained. I was so math and science oriented and so into black and white. And I really hadn't had a creative thought for myself, and I actually had a panic attack in some advanced calculus class, and I ran out of the room and I went and changed my major.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
I know, it was crazy. It was crazy. And I did go back and apologize to the math teacher, and told her that she was great, and she was a great teacher, but I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't see why I was learning all this stuff, and that it was easy for me. So I changed my major, and of course I didn't know what to change it to. I tried a bunch of different things, and then I literally stumbled into an audition for a musical, and I ended up auditioning for The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
Oh.
At school, and I got in, and and I did this, and I fell in love with singing, which I loved to do, and acting, which I didn't know I loved to do. I just knew I loved to perform. I love to tell stories. I mean, I've always been a storyteller. So yeah, I ended up leaving Duke with a degree in drama, first in drama and a second in chemistry. And I went off to grad school to get my master's in acting because I really did not know how to act at all. And I went to this like very, very actory place for a semester to see if this is what I wanted to do. I went to the Eugene O'Neill Theater Center, and there I used to walk around apparently singing all the time. And I didn't even know it, but I did. I guess I just hummed and sang to myself all the time. And Martin Philando stopped me and he said, "Meghan, do you know you sing all the time?" I said, "Oh, do I?" He's like, "Yes." I said, "I guess, okay, well, okay." He goes, "It's not good." And I was like, "Why? I don't understand." He said, "Well, he apparently, it was his belief that it was me living a lie. It was me trying to make people think that I was happy all the time, and no one could be that happy." And I thought, well, first of all, I am kind of a happy person. And second of all, I don't sing for you. I sing for me, you know? So that's where, and then I went off to school and I became an actor. And then I met my fiancé doing a musical, doing a show. And it was the only musical that I would ever be cast in. There's a couple that I would be cast in because I don't have a musical theater voice at all. I have a very specifically me voice. And so I was doing Pump Boys and Dinettes, and I met Matthew, and he was a musician, and he played guitar, and he sang, and I ended up singing with him. We'd go out and play in bars, and he'd play, and he'd sing all these songs, and I learned the lyrics to the chorus, and that's it. And I loved it. I really loved it. I loved making music and harmonies, and I was like, wow, this is something that fits. And then he passed away, and when he did, I wanted to keep something, and I didn't want to lose the music too. So I picked up his guitar and I figured out how to play those chords, but I didn't know what they were called. And I didn't know any songs because I only sang the chorus, the harmony to the chorus to all these songs. So I didn't know any songs straight through from beginning to end. So I wrote them.
No.
Because I had a lot to say. I had a lot to put into a song. And, sometimes when emotions are really big, they're too big for just words. And so we sing them, and that's kind of, it just all came together. And I started writing these songs, never intending to play them for anybody, but
just as therapy.
Yeah. I just wrote them because they showed up. And then I was doing this, I was up doing a play, because every theater I'd ever worked in, when Matthew died, they all threw shows at me to come to the mountains here and heal and do a show. And so I was in the Catskill Mountains, and I was writing these songs, and some of the guys in the cast, it was all guys in the cast because I was the only woman in this entire cast, playing the wife of this explorer who ends up dying. It was just all, too much.
Yeah.
So anyway, they heard me playing these songs, and they're like, well, why don't you, will you come out and play them for us? And then it became a thing that whenever I wrote a song, every night after the show was over, I'd pull out the guitar and I'd play them the songs that I'd written. And so that's how I started playing them for people.
Wow. Now, how old were you at this time?
I was 26.
Okay. I mean, that's a lot to go through at that age.
Yeah, I certainly wasn't prepared. And I was still in that idyllic, that age of idealism where I really believed that the plan I had was going to be the plan that happened, because I had this plan. I was going to marry Matthew, and we were going to have 2 kids, and we were going to live, in Virginia. I had a whole plan, and it all just went poof.
Wow.
Yeah. So I when the dust cleared, I found myself on this completely different track.
Oh my gosh. Well, how did you go from I just started playing these songs for people to, I think this is the direction I want to go, and I'm going to, record, and I'm going to perform and all that?
Well, I actually wrote a one-woman play about this because I did not go into this without a lot of kicking and screaming. I mean, I was still, in my mind, a biomedical engineer who thought it would be fun to be an actor. You know what I mean? I was really just not. And so I was doing the last show of the summer after Matthew died, and I had to go back to New York to talk to the bartender at O'Flaherty's, which is one of the places we would play in New York, where I would sing with him. And I went in to tell him that Matthew couldn't do his show that was coming up. And he's this Irish guy, and I can't remember that. Ronan was his name, very Irish guy. Oh. And I said, Ronan, I'm so sorry, but Matthew's not going to be able to play his gig next week. And he said, oh, well, why not? And I said, well, he died. And Ronan just looked at me with this quizzical look, and then he said, well, then can you play it?
Oh.
And I was like, yeah. So that was his response to, my fiance. He only knew him as my musical partner, but that he had died was, oh, well, then can you play the gig? Because
oh my gosh.
So I did. And it was I had 3 45-minute sets, and I had a handful of songs that I'd written that were, enough, like 6 songs that I felt like I could actually play for people in this bar. And then I'd learned Bobby McGee and Angel from Montgomery all the way. So I filled 3 45-minute sets with those songs and a lot of stories. And by the end, the one song, New Shoes, which was one of my most popular ones, I guess, at the time, I did it for each set. So everyone was singing along by the end, because they knew it, because they stayed for 3 sets and heard this.
Well, that's amazing that they stayed for 3 sets, first of all.
It was, and it was a mix of so I had so many people who just were kind of gawkers of like, wow, what the heck? Meghan Cary, she's making music. She's singing. Like, we have no one. She's going to play music. Did you know she played music? No, I didn't know. Like that. That was, and then I thought, well, I was encouraged to make a tape of these to record the songs and just give them to Matthew's family and to friends and things. But I didn't know how to record anything. I didn't have a microphone. I had no idea. And so someone said, well, I have a friend who can help you. And Scott McClatchy did that. He told me I can record 6 of these songs and it'll cost this much money. And I just happened to have just that much money. And so we started, and about halfway through, he of course came to me and said, we've run through the money that you have. I said, oh, he said, so we want to keep going. I said, I can't. I don't have, I'm a living hand to mouth right now. And he said, no, we don't want you to pay us anymore. We just want to finish the record.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, okay, well, that's really nice. And a lot of things have been happening this way for me. A lot of, we just can't make it alone in this world. And anyway, he said, but you have to promise that you'll press CDs and distribute the record. And I was like, well, what do you mean distribute it? And he said, well, sell it. Like, sell it? Who's going to buy my music? What are you talking about? He's like, please just press a CD and sell it. And so I did. And that was my first CD, New Shoes. And I made these copies, and someone sent one to Billboard magazine, and they gave it that Critics' Choice Award. And it was, then I was like, okay, everyone's like, okay, you're a musician now, right? And I'm like, no, not really, but okay. So I pretended, until it felt like for real. I think finally, for real, I feel like I'm a musician.
Wow. That is such an amazingly cool story. So do you even know who sent your CD to Billboard? I mean, did someone tell you, or it just was totally anonymous?
There's the person who told me, he said, have you picked up Billboard this week? And it was a guy who was very in the music industry, So I just did, thinking that, I should be looking at Billboard, I guess, every week. So I'm wondering if he's the guy, but I don't know.
Oh my gosh. So, okay. So you suddenly thrust into this world of music, and did you promote the first album? Did you start going out and getting your own gigs? I mean, you had some experience with that, I'm assuming, when you worked with Matthew. Like, did you have any kind of plan, or did you just kind of, fall into everything that happened after that?
I mean, honestly, and it's going to sound unbelievable, but I didn't have a plan at all. And I didn't have any idea how the business worked. And all these things kept happening that kept moving me on this trajectory. I was doing the toy fair, which is this big industry thing that actors do to make money, where you sell toys you're in these big showrooms and you do like live commercials for all the toy companies to sell their toys to the retailers. And I was working there, and someone had a guitar. And this was, this was actually before, it might've been in the process of making the CD, what I thought was going to be the tape. And someone had a guitar for their character. So I said, I can play a song. And so I played one of my songs, and this woman, Kathy Vaness, she came by. She was working. She had hired me to do this as an actor, and she came by and she's like, "Meghan, I didn't know you play guitar." And I said, "Yeah. I didn't know you were saying, yeah." And she said, "Whose song is that?" And I said, "It's mine." And she said, "That's your song." And I said, "Hmm." I said, "Well, do you have other songs?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have a couple songs." And I'd done the O'Flaherty's thing at this point, and she said, "Well, you should play at the bitter end." I was like, right, sure, the bitter end, like Sean Colvin's bitter end, right. And she's like, no, Kenny Gorka's my best friend. Now, Kenny Gorka used to book the bitter end, and he passed away a few years ago. So anyway, she called Kenny and said, "Kenny, you got to listen to this young woman." And I gave him at this point. By this point, I got someone to tape me doing 3 songs or 4 songs, and I gave it to him, and he listened to it, and he calls me up and he says, "Hi, Meghan, this is Kenny Gorka." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And he's like, "So I got your demo from Kathy Vaness, and I'm just wondering, do you have more songs like the last song on this track?" So I'd given him, like, the first 2 are really sad songs. I wrote a lot of sad songs at that time. And then the last one's a little more upbeat, a little more driving, kind of maybe angry, because you go through that too. And I was like, well, why? And he said, "Because I don't want people to come in and slit their wrists." Like, "Oh, then yeah, I've got more like that." And then he says, "So, okay, well, that's good." He said, "Do you think you could bring 40 people in to the club to hear you?" I was like, "Oh, no, I don't think so." He's like, "Meghan, you're not supposed to say no. You're supposed to say, yes, I can bring 40 people, Kenny." I said, "But Kenny, I don't think I can. I think I can bring about 20. He said, "But you're not supposed to say that." I said, "Yeah, but I don't want to overpromise." He said, "Oh, Meghan, oh my God. Okay, so you think you can bring 20? I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, that's what most people who say they can bring 40 can bring."
Right.
That's fine. So, and then there were like 60 people. So it was all good in the end. And then that became my home, and where, he'd call, or Kathy would call, or I'd call him, and when you want to play again, and I started doing, and then you meet people, and then someone's like, "Well, you should play at the sidewalk." And so you go to the sidewalk, and it just kind of unrolled like that. And it wasn't, I didn't really start making the choices on my own until I decided that I was ready to go out on tour, go out on the road. And then I had to actually really proactively figure out where I wanted to play, contact the people, get the shows, get people out to them, all that.
And did you do that booking yourself?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Yep. And I would go on people's website that I knew who were musicians that I thought were good and that were kind of like me. It's always such a hard thing. Is that person like, I don't know. And I would go and look where they played, and I'd call up a place, say, "Oh, so, I'm a friend of Amy Speece, and she's played your club." And I thought, my music is a lot like hers. I think we'd be a great fit. And I'll be down. And I learned this very early on, and say, "I'll be down there in August, and I could play on Saturday, August 28th. Would that work for you?" And I give them a date. And like, yeah. And I don't start way ahead of time, but I would give them, this is when I'm coming through. You want me to be here. So go ahead and book me. And look, now your work is done.
Yep. Oh, super smart.
So someone along the line told me to do that. And it was one of the best pieces of advice in booking that I'd gotten. Give them a date.
Yeah, for sure. Even if you don't, I mean, hopefully most of the time you've actually booked at least one thing there and you're really going to be there, but sometimes you don't. And you're just kind of like, okay, I'm going to decide I'm going here at this time and I'm going to tell them that.
Right. And then that's where you start. And then you build. I also once called a wrong number. I was trying to call somewhere in Asheville. I don't know if it was the Gray Eagle. Remember the Gray Eagle? I think that's what it was called. But I called the wrong number and I got a person's home. And I told them, I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, I was trying to call the Gray Eagle. Oh, why? Are you, is there someone good playing there? I said, well, I was hoping to play there. And they said, oh, well, I can give you the number of the Gray Eagle, but you should also play at Black Mountain. There's this great place.
Oh my gosh.
And proceeded to give me places to play. I was like, okay, cool.
That's hilarious. Oh, those nice people in Asheville.
I know. They're very nice down there.
I love Asheville.
I know, right? I haven't been back in far too long.
That's so cool. I love that. And thank you for that advice. It's definitely some of the stuff that I used when I was booking myself. Now, are you still booking yourself today?
I am. Because things are very different now because I have 2 kids and they're school. And so I can only play on weekends and I can't go too far because I need to be back. I mean, we can go overnight. We have family who helps us out if we're going overnight. But I have to tour a little differently. It's more about doing local things and 3 hours out and 3 hours back kind of stuff. So I feel like that isn't going to be attractive to a booking agent. So, and so I've continued to do my own booking. I have an assistant who helps me a little bit with, just the phone calls and things.
Admin and follow up and stuff like that.
But we do a lot of personal, hey, I'm coming, I'd like to play there. And, it's the booking thing's tough. It's tough because it's that circle of, they say, well, do you have a big crowd here? I say, well, no, because I haven't played there yet. So I'd like to open for someone so they can start to build the crowd. And like, yeah, we need the opener to bring the people because, so there's this circle.
I
know. And I want to bring them, and I want to bring them people. So, so it's a slow build out because it's a slow build out, from the center point where most of my fans are. And now I have a pretty strong base here in Philly, and I still have my gang in New York City. And so as I spread out, I'm hoping that, the little places in between will start to fill up.
Yeah, I always remember what Rachel Sage said when I interviewed her. She said, I started out in New York and I started making concentric circles just further out and further out.
Yeah.
And that made so much sense because you could get people to go, so far from where they already are to come to your shows. And then you get enough people, then you've got that social proof for the people that are in that city,
Yep. That's exactly. And, with social media now, you can really engage, if you engage your fans to get their friends on board, that's gold. That's golden because then they're doing all the work for you. I have a friend or a fan who has decided to have a potluck, what's it called? Potluck CD release mermaid show party. So she's invited all these people to her house to have a potluck dinner before coming over to the Mermaid for our CD release show on Friday. It's like, that's cool.
Yeah, that's super fun.
Right. So it's a bunch of people that I don't know but she knows. And so this is how she's engaging them. And that's when it really works.
I love that. So how do you like to engage with fans online?
I'm a Facebook girl, and I think that's part of, I've been in this for a long time, and, email was the thing. And when Facebook came along, I jumped on that, and I never jumped on Twitter. I mean, I do tweet and I and I have people tweet for me, but Twitter doesn't work for me. And I think a lot of my listeners are not into Twitter. They're all on Facebook. So I use a lot of Facebook. And I think it's important to know where you're.
Oh, so true. And where you feel comfortable. Like, I don't feel comfortable. I'm on Twitter, but I don't feel comfortable like engaging on Twitter really.
Yeah.
So, but Facebook feels totally natural to me.
Exactly. It does. And I feel like it's all, maybe it's because maybe I need more words. I don't know.
I know I need more words.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I do. And the people that I'm engaging with seem to need more words to respond. And we engage.
And that's good, because that means they're really engaged. I mean, if they're just going, yep, or that's cool, that's not what we want, right?
Right. No, we want to have a conversation. So that's I feel like I can do that on Facebook. So yeah.
And are you using Facebook Live?
Yes, I am. And it's funny. The thing about Facebook Live when you're performing is that you can't really Facebook Live yourself when you're performing. So you have to have somebody else take your phone and trust them that they're going to do a Facebook Live thing that's going to look right. Right.
It's actually in focus. It's actually pointed at you. Yeah, I know.
Exactly. And not, like got someone's head in the middle of the screen. It's like, oh yeah, I could see your left hand. Well,
oh my gosh.
But I find myself doing a lot of Facebook Live of other artists, because I'll be at a show or something. I was at Aaron Nathan's and Michael Ronstadt's show, their CD release show at Burlap and Bean on Saturday. And they were just so good. And so I did a Facebook Live, and that's cool because I would like them to do a Facebook Live for me. And a lot of my fans are their fans. And so I think it was nice for fans to be able to check in and see on my feed them, but so I'm trying to figure out how to do the Facebook Live at a show with someone else recording us. Do you have any advice on that?
I don't know. I think you probably you need to have someone that you trust that has a tripod and, knows where to stand and all that stuff, I think.
Right.
And maybe having someone on your team, like engaging with the people on Facebook Live while it's happening.
Right. Because that's a big part of it too.
Like you can't do that.
I can't, because I'm playing, right?
You can say hi to them, but yeah.
Right. And now one of the first Facebook Lives we did was before we even started recording the record. I had just written the song Drive, which is on this record. And I was really excited about it, and it sounded really cool. I said, Peter, and we were just working it up in the music room. I said, let's just go live on Facebook. Let's just see what happens. And we had so many people come in and watch this rehearsal, basically, of us working out this song. And it was really, I think people felt like they were getting something, getting in on the ground level. So that was cool. And I want to do more of the Facebook Live of just even, when I've got a new song that I want to share before it's even ready to, or maybe even been out in front of a live audience,
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you did stuff like that. I think it's really cool to get that behind the scenes, like, first to hear kind of experience with Facebook Live.
Yeah, I think, and I haven't, I've been so focused on releasing this record. I mean, I just have been, it's been a very busy time. It's a very busy thing.
Well, let's hear about this new project. Like, tell us about it, what inspired it, and I also want to hear about how you got your fans involved.
Okay, yeah, that was this record is my most was the most profound experience making this record. There were 73 different musical voices on this record, from people who sang to people who played. 73 musicians brought themselves to this record. It's like, wow. And what happened is the title track is called Sing Louder, and it's a song that I've been playing live, and the hook is, if you don't know the words, sing louder. So I always encourage people to sing with me because singing feels good. Back to what I said before, singing just feels good, right? And a lot of people don't realize that because they don't let themselves sing. singing with other people feels amazing because your voices resonate together, and it moves. Sound is a vibration; it moves you. And when a whole bunch of people get singing together, it lifts the energy. The vibration is real, and it changes your body because your body responds by vibrating. And I get to feel it every time I get up on stage and I do that song. There's a couple songs where people now always sing back at me, and the more, to start out with 1 or 2 voices, and then those 2 become 4, and those 4 become 16, and it's exponential. They just become this big choir of people who've never met, who are all singing, and they aren't always singing the same words, and it just doesn't matter. And that for me was just such a huge part of this, the past year of playing these songs. So I wanted to get that on the record, and I've always wanted to capture the liveness and that magic energy of live music on a record, and it's really hard. But I thought, this is something I can get this. I can bring people in if they're willing to come in and record, and just the people that usually sing back at me at shows. So I put it out there, and I was expecting, maybe I'll get half a dozen people who are willing to come into the studio and do this. Well, 50 people were like, oh yeah, I'll come in. Yeah, when do we do it? And so then it was all, I had to set up a date and who could come when, and all that stuff. And these guys showed up. So it ended up being 48 people, because I don't know, someone got sick and someone ran out of gas, whatever. But so 48 people came into the studio, and these are people who'd never been in the studio. So first they were just excited to be in the studio. And then I'd asked them to think about, because they were singing the song Sing Louder, which for me is all about raising your voice and being heard. And so I asked them, what do you want to be heard about? Like, if you could tell the world something, what would it be? I said, and put it on a sign so that you can hold it up, so that you can be singing and you can still be, letting the world know this, because I wanted to get pictures and things. And so people came with their signs that, whether it was, I remember one sign said civility, and one said laughter, and one was about clean energy. It was like, cool. There was pride, there was love, there's acceptance. All these just really really wonderful messages, and they all came in, and there were 48 sets of headphones in the studio, and they all walked up and picked up their.
I can't believe they had that many headphones.
I know. Well, it's Glenn. He's the bomb, man. Morningstar Studios is where I did this. Glenn Barrett really he really rose to this occasion. So they all put on their headphones, and they stepped up to these microphones, and really stepped out of their comfort zone to do this. And they sang, loudly, and they sang joyfully, and it changed the energy in the room. Everybody left there just adrenalized because of the energy that was created with these 48 voices singing together and along to this song. So that is captured on the title track, Sing Louder. And then we had 5 minutes left in the studio. I was like, Glenn, can we please do just the last few lines of Responsibility? I need to hear these guys on that. So we also added them on my song Responsibility, which is about I wrote it about the homeless crisis in the city, and it's about taking responsibility for and accountability for the fact that we are not here alone, and we need to acknowledge other people's existence, even if it makes us feel powerless because we can't help them. Acknowledging them makes a huge difference. So, and the last line is, I believe, it rests on me. So they all sang that too. So now that's on the record. And it made this record what it is. Mm-hmm. They did that.
That sounds super exciting. I remember on one of my my albums, I brought a few people into the studio, and it was super fun. Just like some of my friends, and also people that my producer knew that I didn't know. And this group sang, it was really exciting. And got them excited about the album, and that brought more people to the CD release and more people that bought it for people they knew because hey, I'm on this album,
Right. And then for the crowdfunding campaign, I made limited edition T-shirts that has all of their names on the back.
Oh my gosh!
Guess everybody bought one of those.
Oh,
and they're all they all are coming this weekend. This weekend is the first 2 CD release parties, and they are all going to be there to celebrate the release of their record because it is their record. They're on this record, and along with these other fabulous musicians and a gospel choir, which we brought in for 2 numbers because
oh my gosh, how awesome!
The sound, the feeling, the energy of voices singing together, whether in unison or in harmony, is really, really powerful. I mean,
oh yeah, I'm a choir girl. Like that's where I got my start in a million different choirs in high school. And that's what got me excited about music, that ability to just make this sound that you can't make alone.
No, you can't. And because, 2 voices resonate, 3 voices resonate even more. And every time, the resonation, if it's at a certain frequency, it makes it louder. And that's, that's the thing. If you want to be heard, you have to be loud. And if you want to be loud, one of the best ways to do it is to join with other voices and let it happen. Let that happen and be heard. So
that's awesome. I love that. Well, good luck at all your release parties this weekend. I know this is going to air after that, but I'm sure they're going to be awesome. I'm curious to find out how you work all this in with your regular life of having 2 kids. And I mean, I'm thinking right now, like in 2 hours when my kids get home, okay, my daughter has a reading class and my other daughter has this homework, I'm already thinking that through. And how do you balance all of that?
Compartmentalize. Right? I'm serious because you know this, like the only time it really fails for me is when I try to, when the kids come home, I try to keep, get them busy so I can continue doing my work. Like I have to, when I'm with the kids, I need to be with the kids. And when I'm doing my work, I have to be doing my work.
You are so right. I used to try to fool myself into thinking I could do that.
Right. We fool ourselves into multitask. No, you can't. And then you don't do either of them well. It's like talking on the phone with someone and while you're trying to like answer an email or something. It's like, come on. You're not giving either of them, your brain. So, and, forget your heart. So I really try. I don't say that I always succeed. No, today my daughter was coming home and now she's 11 now. So she can come home and I can ask her to, when I asked her, when Quinn comes in, please let him know that I'm on an interview and to please be quiet. And it didn't work, but but I felt confident that I could at least ask. And so yeah, I really try to compartmentalize. And whenever we can, because my husband makes music with me, right? So whenever we can, we try to include the kids in the actual music making part. They come to festivals with us and a lot of shows that we do that are, if they're family friendly or outdoor or things like that, they'll come and I can't wait until my son can be our drummer and Clara can be the keyboard player so that Peter, my husband who plays keyboards, can play one of the other 25 instruments he plays. And we'll be like the regular old Partridge Family.
Oh my gosh, how fun.
We just need the multicolored bus. Raising a band. Come on, that's what you do. Raise a band.
Totally. I love that. You don't have to hire people.
Right, that's right. So, it's like, okay, this will be you got to work for your allowance here. No.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's funny. So because this is the female entrepreneur musician, like I always ask everybody, what does your streams of income look like? How does your pie kind of, stack up as far as, what percentage of your income is from shows, what is from merch, what is from maybe licensing, and maybe you're doing, teaching, like what are all the things that you're doing? Because I think as musicians, we all kind of have to figure out what that looks like for us. And it's never usually one or even two things that are actually bringing in the money.
Right. And it changes. So it used to be shows and CD sales were that was the pie. And I can't do as many shows now, but so I have tried to shift into doing less shows but better shows, bigger shows, and so that can stay fairly consistent. So shows is still a big part of the income. CD sales is difficult because people have trouble parting with their money for a CD these days because they feel like they can get their music for free. And somehow in their brains, they feel like they should. So, and I've also had people say to me, after a gig, they want some of the music. And I say, well, here, I have some CDs. And they're like, CDs? I don't think I have anything at home to play a CD on. Like, I know. So then sort of trying to transition into the digital version of selling CDs or selling music is that I haven't cracked that yet. I'm trying to do other merch that includes, like I've written a book that is almost ready to come out. It's just a book of the stories of the songs. And my intention is to sell that with a digital download of the CD so that they have a physical something, but it's not a physical CD because they don't know what to do with that.
Right.
But they also have the music. So they get the music in a form, as a download code or card or something. And then this physical thing, which is a book, which people still read books.
They do. It's crazy.
Yes, they do. So, so CD sales is evolving right now, and I really want to. My goal for this record is to get into the licensing thing. So, my husband we have Logic Pro and Pro Tools here, and so we have all of our session files so that we can have our stems, and I need to, after we get the CD released, I'm going to work on getting the stems together in versions that, so I can submit them for different things.
Right. Right. You can do like cues and you can do, instrumental only and all that stuff.
Yes. And we, for this record, because we really were focusing on the folk charts to start. That's where we're starting with this record. And then hopefully we'll move to AAA from there. But we kept the drums to a minimum. I mean, not minimum enough for most folk DJs, but I mean, I have a full band, so it's hard. I mixed these with the folk music world in mind, and I'd like to, once this is released, I'd like to get the other versions of these songs that I think will be maybe better for a licensing thing or for other things, because nowadays you can make one song, you can have it be 5 different versions just for the same tracks.
That's so true,
right? So, and the intros on all these songs, we had these beautiful musical intros, and all of them are cut down. Every song is it's somewhere between 3:30 and 4:30 because I was going for radio, so
right.
So, but I want to have those. I have those intros to build back in to use for other things. So it's going to be, that's my goal for where I want more of my income to be coming from, because I can do that from home and I can do that without disrupting our family unit as much as touring does. And,
yep. So true. And that's really helpful that, what you were saying about how you can kind of break those down and go back as long as you have the right files from your producer. I think that's usually one of the downfalls of not knowing what you're doing in the studio, is that people leave without all the files that they need. And then later they want to go back and they're like, can't get a hold of them, or they want to charge them more or whatever, so that's very smart. Yeah.
And you really should, you should know that those are your files. So
yep.
you
paid for them.
You ask them for the session files. They're yours. So, I mean, I know, like with Glenn, Glenn holds on to all of his, so I can go back and say, oh, session files from that other. See, I can't. I do you have those? And he's really organized, so he's got them all organized. So, but even I don't know how long he keeps stuff, but so we have our stuff to work from. And I say all this, and it's like, oh well, when am I going to sit down and do all that?
After the release, don't worry.
Yes.
Focus on the short term ahead.
Birth this baby first.
Yep, totally. Well, oh my gosh, this has been like the most meaty, awesome, amazing interview. I can't believe we've been talking for almost an hour.
Oh my God.
I know, it's insane. But you're one of those people that, like, when I first started talking to you, as we said, like, we felt like we knew each other already because we'd kind of been in contact for several years. But once I started talking to you, I felt like I did already know you. So that's great for your fans, because I'm sure you make them feel that way as well. And I think that's what we're all striving for, is to help our fans feel like they can, get a little piece of us.
Yeah. Connection, man.
Yep.
Authentic connection is, we're hardwired for that. It's how we find joy in our lives. It's like authentically connecting with other people. So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for authentically connecting with all of our listeners today, and let them know where they can find everything Meghan Cary.
All right. All things Meghan Cary. There is a MeghanCary.com, and you just have to know how to spell the name.
That's the hard part.
Right. And it's MEGHANCARY. So I always remind people to make sure you put the H in there and don't put the E.
Yep. Add the H, lose the E. Totally.
Exactly. Add the H, lose the E. At MeghanCary.com. And then on Facebook, if you go and like my music page, which is Facebook, Meghan Cary Music, and you can always connect with me there. And feel free to friend me on my profile until I can't. I think I don't know where the limit is.
I just hit 5,000 like a few weeks ago, and I had to start deleting people that I don't remember who they are.
That's what I was thinking. It's like I'm up there in like mid 4,000s, and I'm like, okay. So, but go ahead and friend me there and tell me something about yourself, and I'd love to connect. So those are the probably the best ways. You can also email me at anything@MeghanCary.com will find its way to me.
So info@MeghanCary.com or something like that. Yeah. Awesome. Yes. Awesome. Well, she's making herself super accessible. So I hope all of you guys will go out and connect with her and listen to her new album. We'll be playing some of the songs on Women of Substance, and it'll be out for a while once this interview comes out. So definitely go check that out. And thank you so much, Meghan. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Now go out and make great music, connect with your fans, and grow your business. Female Entrepreneur Musician has been brought to you by FEMusician.com and FemaleMusicianAcademy.com. With editing by Jen Eads of 317 Sound Design and music by Stella Ronson.